Welcome to our second UX Chefs weekly workshop. Um, this is our second weekly workshop that we usually, present to you every Saturday. So every Saturday, we come up with a collection of the information that we've been posting online throughout the week. And then what happens is that this information, is combined together, and then it's put into the UX, chef's buffet. And then, that right here is the buffet that I'm going to be taking you through. So it's just a collection of the information that we've been putting together throughout the week as UX chefs. Remember, as UX chefs, we cook user experiences. So that is why we call ourselves UX chefs. So we cook user experiences, and we believe that it's a process. For you to achieve good user experiences, you need to go through a process. So we believe that process is a process of cooking, and it involves coming up with what you want to actually so the idea of UX chefs is just simply, having an idea or a metaphor of cooking that we used to represent a process that designers go through to come up with any design or any piece of work that is related to design or to build experiences online. So, and you use UI elements to build those experiences online. So that is the process that designers go through. So, and we believe that process can be represented through a metaphor of cooking, because before you cook, you need to first of all find out what you're going to cook, and then who are you cooking for, and then what ingredients are you going to include, because you realize when you're cooking for different individuals, they require different ingredients. When you're cooking for kids, when you're cooking for teenagers, youths, together with the elders and the old, you realize that you require to come up with quite a number of ways to cook for them, because they are different people. So for you to actually represent them all together, you need to find ways of coming up with ingredients that either work for all of them or work for a specific group of people. Then after finding out the ingredients, you need to find out how those ingredients come together to come up with the food that they're going to eat. So eventually find out that it is a process of finding out and then preparing and then serving. So that is the same process that designers go through, to from getting the requirements of what they have to do, and then making research, and then capturing ideas here and there, refining them, coming back to research, validating through the user testing, and then finally through all these refinements, they finally come up with something tangible. So that is the meal, the final meal that they have to actually present. So that is what we call the buffet. The buffet has all these meals that we've been preparing throughout the week. So that is what we present to you in this weekly buffet. The buffet is just a collection of the meals that we've been preparing. We prepare meals on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And then on Saturday, we put all those meals together in a buffet, and then we give you that buffet, and then on Saturday we make sure that we go through that buffet in terms of a workshop, and then we ask questions, and those questions get answered, and then we share what we know here and there, so that the user experience design field can be enriched with information through sharing, because I believe that's a very good way of making sure that everyone gets to know how to do things, and why they should be doing them in the first place, actually. So yeah, that is why we bring to you this weekly buffet. So just to continue, so I'm going to be taking you through this weekly buffet, but first and foremost, I need to introduce myself. I'm Rogers Mukaaya. I'm the founder of UXTF. So UXTF is just a group of creatives that come together to solve business design problems using a combination of knowledge from a wide range of related careers. So yeah, we come together and then solve business related problems, especially design related business problems that require that require digital experiences, actually. So if at all you have a problem that is a design problem but requires a digital solution, then that is where the UX chefs come in to solve that problem for you with a wide collection of knowledge from creatives. We do have graphic designers, web designers, UX designers. We have artists together with software engineers in this specific group. And as Rogers Mukaaya, I'm supposed to make sure that these ideas come to life, and then they're sent into production, and then people actually enjoy them. So I have around 6 years of experience. I think I've been making 6 years of experiences this very year, 2024. So, and I came up with this group so that people can always come together and share knowledge in the first place, because before we solve problems, we have to share knowledge. People have to get to know how to solve these problems using the knowledge that I've acquired, because without knowledge you might not be able to actually solve a problem, even if the problem exists in society. So through sharing, I believe people will be able to get to know how to execute specific problems that exist in society through user experience design, and to enable us live in a better society at the end. So that is where I came up with this group, and this is our second weekly buffet that I'm actually taking this through in our second workshop. So at UX Chefs, that just like I told you, we create informative posts throughout the week. We are always showering you with information through our different accounts on social media. That's LinkedIn to Twitter. Especially, we are planning on actually, venturing into other social media platforms like Instagram, like Pinterest, so that we actually post our work. Just like I'll be showing you, most of our work is actually visual work. We make sure that we share our ideas visually so that you can consume this work, in a manner that is actually enjoyable. Because I believe if at all you're consuming your work in a visual manner, then you're actually enjoying it. So that is why, we actually put together this weekly buffet. It has information that has to do with user experience design. That's tips and tricks, talking about the controversies in the field, talking about, what you actually need to know in order to improve as a designer, who has to create, the best user experiences, if I may say. So we give you that knowledge so that, you think first off and, create these ideas here and there so that you can know what finally works for you. We spark that sort of like way of, making you think. We spark your mind and, spark your thoughts. And then we intrigue you into thinking about the kind of work you're creating for the people that consume it. So that is why we put together these weekly buffets. And I'm actually going to be taking you through these weekly buffets. Before we can continue, you can actually introduce yourself so that we can, move on.
Yeah, so as you see, I'm Caleb Naman. I'm currently in my form 6 vacation. And actually, I got to know you from Innovation Village. I don't know whether you know it.
Oh, yeah. I've been there. I've worked from
Yeah,
there.
yeah. This is where I got this group from Innovation Village. So I'm also happy to join you. I've actually also just initiated in programming. I do Python. Mostly in this side of data science, because I've done Python with pandas, the math tips. Like I think I went into that side of data analysis because that's what I'm actually interested in with Python. I've actually also done some courses, online courses from pro side. So I'm also interested in programming, software engineering. I'm in the right group. I hope I'm in the right group. I'm with the right people. It helped me also improve my skills.
Of course
And
you are.
yeah, how I
Of course you are in the right group. Just know. Of course you are in the right group.
yes, please.
Right group. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Nice seeing you. Nice seeing you.
So currently I'm also I'm also doing some internship from Mala Scientific as in a Colorado software services for hospitals, pharmacies. Yeah, those pharmacies. I'm doing some internship from there. Using my skills also.
Yeah.
So and also grounded know about this group.
Yeah.
Know about this group. Do you meet like a physical have meeting physically?
We physically right now meeting physically. We are actually planning, coming up with physical sessions and try to start meeting physically. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'm also happy to join you. I'm also happy, and I'm also willing to participate. How we can do technology wise. Yeah,
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for that interest. And thank you so much for. I think we can actually continue right now. So, moving on.
Yeah.
So moving on, make sure that you actually check out our hashtags. I took you through these hashtags last week. That is the UX Tunes, the UX Word together with the UX Chefs Weekly Buffet. These hashtags are the ones that we use, to indicate that, this information, is coming from the UX Chefs. And, it has been cooked properly and it's prepared with, a taste that suits you so that you can actually enjoy it and enrich your mind so that you get to think, about the kind of work you're actually doing and how you actually contribute to society. So watch out for the UX Tones. We produce, posts concerning the UX Tones. UX Tones, it's just, it's just conversations about UX design. The daily conversations actually happen in a sort of like a working area or office or away from like work, if I told you at a restaurant, home, like those circumstances or conversations or instances that always pop up in designers' minds or anyone's mind, and once they come into contact with any product, and then they actually feel it's either working for them or it doesn't. So we actually put together those conversations. They are all imaginary, but the information that is in there, it's critical and it needs you to actually get to that information, and it requires you to actually read that information and then store it in your mind and then think about it and then relate to it and then use it to make your work better. So moving on, the next hashtag is the UX word. So the UX word is just a user experience word of the day. So just like I told you last week, I curated a list of 300 words that I used to describe user experience design, and these words have been used by experts in that field. That have been used by the grandfathers of user experience design. So the people that actually started, practicing this specific sort of like way of making sure that we think about the kind of people we are designing for. So I put together those words and then I make sure that I write a piece of information every Tuesday and Thursday, and then I put it up on either LinkedIn or Twitter, and then people actually read it and then they use it in their daily lives, not just in their sort of like career, that is like a design career, but in their daily lives. So watch out for that specific hashtag, the UX word. Moving on, the next hashtag is the UX Just Weekly Buffet, and this is what I'm actually taking you through. This is our newsletter, and it's a curated newsletter that is around the UX tunes and the UX word, together with other articles that we're always writing around user experience design. So watch out for these hashtags so that you stay in the loop of being informed here and there about what is taking place in the user experience design field. Moving on, I'm going to be taking you through what you missed this specific week under the UX tunes, and then I'll be taking you through the UX word, and then I'll be taking you through some of the articles that we've been creating throughout the week, and then I'll actually tell you about the book of the day that you should actually check out, and then get to read about the exciting information under user experience design. So moving on, I want to first of all take you through what you missed under the UX tone. So before that, I would like to first of all take you through the UX word, so that we have the UX tunes coming after taking through the UX word of the day. Just like I told you, under UX word, we curated a list of 300 words, and we actually still adding on to this specific list. We are still adding other words, if at all you come across a word when you're reading, when you're researching, when you doing your daily work, because we members under the UX chiefs, we do work away from this group work. Everyone has their day-to-day job, and people usually find UX terms out there, and then they also contribute to this specific list. So for this week, the words you missed, the first word is interactive, and then the second word is product. Let me just take you through interactive, and then we shall continue with product. So for interactive, you realize these are just like either LinkedIn posts or Twitter posts, and what happens is it's just a piece of information regarding this word, and then how it can actually be related to UX design. So interactive just comes from a perspective of how people actually interact with each other, because away from this the designing, the programming we do, the engineering, building of these products, first come back to society. In society, people relate with each other through communication and feedback. If at all you don't communicate with someone for a long time, you feel disconnected away from them. And then if at all they send you a message, send you something, and then you respond, the connection is built with time. It is the same thing with systems. If at all there is no way the system can get to know, so if at all there is no way a user or someone using a specific system does not have interact with it, if at all there is no way, if at all there is no mechanism, and we believe that this mechanism is through feedback. So if at all you cannot give feedback to someone who's using your product, how are they going to interact with your specific product? So you realize that it is actually better to think of a way that what you're building, a way how what you're building is going to interact with the user, so that there is a relationship. Because if at all there's not that tiny relationship, for example, if at all someone fills a form and they click that confirm button, and you don't give them an alert box up there that shows that they've actually clicked that button, then they are not interacting with that system. So you realize that it is better for us to actually incorporate feedback in the kind of products we're actually designing, so that they can be interactive. That is where this word comes in user experience design, because user experience design it lives within the users of the product. It is not in the product itself. It is within that interaction. The moment someone uses your app on the phone, that is where user experience lies. That is where user experience is measured. It is either good or poor at that moment. So user experience comes in at that moment of interaction where the system interacts with the user. And how do they do that? How does the system do that? It is through feedback. And if at all you realize, systems that have been designed properly, they always have that feedback. If at all you send a message on WhatsApp, it will show you a tick, single tick, then 2 ticks, then it will make them blue. All that is feedback, and the system is interacting with you, the user. So make sure that you keep this word at the back of your mind while designing or even programming, so that people can actually enjoy the kind of products you actually building for them. So the next word, moving on, was product. And product, it just drives us into one of our articles that you missed this specific week. So, and that product word actually brings us to this specific, article, which is called design accountability. You realize that UX design is there to question things, because you realize that once someone is interacting with a system and they get a problem, the first thing they will ask themselves, what am I doing? Why am I here? What is happening to me? It is all about questioning. And you realize that some of these questions, they are there to sort of like question the kind of things we used to build the products they are using. And one of these things are the designs. So if at all you are able to account for your designs, then I'm sure you can build better user experiences online. So let me take you through this design accountability article, and I'll take you through the highlights that were in that specific article. So let me just close these other tabs so that I can take you through a specific article. Now, for this article, I realized that it is just there to show you how you can actually account for that type of designs you're making. Now, this article assumes that you've actually gone through the initial steps that you have to go through before you come up with your designs. That is like, settling down to the requirements, then doing your user research, doing your market research, doing your sketching, idealization, wireframing, and all those initial steps that you have to do in order to come up with the final sort of like thing. All right. So the next article I'm going to take you through, it is going to show you how like the most important end result of designing, and that is, it will also show us that thinking product wise is very good, because our next our current word, the current user experience word of the day I'm taking you through is product, but it connects to what I'm actually taking you through, which is design accountability. Why? Because if you're able to account for the designs you're making, that means you're thinking product wise. And thinking product wise means that you know the kind of end result that is expected of you, and that kind of end result has users accounted for in between there. So, and that is what makes up this entire thing of user experience design. It's about being accountable, it's about questioning, it's about making sure that what you're doing you can explain. So moving on, this article was just there to show you how to account for your designs. The first step, if I told you you've finished the initial sort of like stages of coming up with any design, that is asking for requirements, user research, market research, wireframing, idealization, sketching, all these initial stages. It doesn't matter which one you do first, because design, by the way, if you to sort of like search the process that represents design, the process that represents design. Let me just the process that represents design. If I told you you to actually search about this. There's that sort of like scratchy sort of like process they show you. But as you can see, all these processes, there is no one process that is straightforward. I think you can see. Some of it is just a circle, some of them just show you Venn diagrams. So there is no linear way. Whatever you do first doesn't matter. But at the end, you have to make sure that, first of all, to be accountable for the designs, you need to, first of all, settle down to a design style. You need to select a design style. A design style is a collection of, design elements, from colors, text, input boxes, all the way to components. You can also add widgets. Before you build a design system, what they build first is a design style, and you need to select that. So as you select that, you can make sure that you start questioning it, because once you select your design style, then that means you need to start questioning, why did I select this specific design style? So that you can now be able to account for the designs that will be made using that specific design style. So that is why the first step that you need to do is to select a design style, question it. Questioning is all about asking, why this color, why this element, why this input box, why this length, why this width, why this background, why this image. You get it? So it is all about asking why. Once you get the why, how, what, then that means you can now move on to the next step, which is questioning again. Why? Because when you question again, you get to the final reason as to why you need to use any style. Because you realize that designing is all about styling. It's all about styling. Let me just show you this Figma file that I used to prepare this presentation to you. All these specific elements, these are just style. This is just text. These are just colors. These are just images. So you realize that designing is just all about getting a specific style and then questioning it and then making sure that you combine it in a logical way. Now, you realize that once you continue questioning your specific styles, you start measuring. How you measure that is you get your style and then you add a measure to it. And this measure is what I can call critical thinking. Because, as you can see in this diagram, if at all you just use the design styles without measuring them, and measuring them is all about critically thinking and asking. And critical thinking is just asking, being curious, not settling for less, and making sure that you aim for the core reason as to why you did something. So, and you realize that the more you critically think, critical thinking involves measurement, and that is where you realize that that is where psychology becomes a science, because it is all about now making sure that people critically think of the ways through which they need to operate or conduct their lives. So, and critical thinking is all about putting your decisions on a weighing scale and making sure that you select which one suits you best. So once you combine design styles with critical thinking, you start being accountable. And design accountability is as easy as someone asking you, why did you use this color? And then you tell them, I used this color because 1, it relates to our brand style. 2, it relates to what our competitor used maybe in their last campaign that got them ABCD. 3, it is a color that is trending maybe somewhere. 4, it is a color our user mentioned, someone who are testing, who are testing our product with, told us about this color, told about ABCD. So it is about attaching a reasoning behind the designs. So that is what this specific article was all about design accountability. Now, the next article that I want to take you through is because I've taken you through the UX word of the day. Now, let me take you through the articles you missed, then I'll be taking you through the UX trends at the end. So, let me take you through prototyping versus naming layers, which was the other article you missed throughout the week. So, prototyping. So, prototyping versus naming layers. You realize that on LinkedIn there has been this hot topic of naming layers. Designers are asking, should I name them? Should I leave them? Should I forget about them? Should I not be bothered about them? Should I name them when I'm done with the design? Should I name them before I design? Should I name them when I've just created the frame? And now, for us, we are now going to tell you that, why naming Figma files doesn't hold. Because of the following reasons. One, the essence of design. Now, you realize that design is not all about, using a specific metaphor to come up with, also using a specific media or even metaphor, because frames are just metaphors. They don't exist in real life. A frame was built off of a metaphor of a blackboard or a wall, because you realize that in the ancient days, people used to plan on walls, papers, or even in the ground. Someone draws a box on the ground, they plan, they draw their design, they sort of like make sure that it's now taken to the workshop, or the workshop is just close to the ground. They just copy the design and then they actually make sure they transition it into a real product. And then I think this evolved to walls, papers before the digital world, and then we're in the digital era. We are now able to create what we call frames. So right here, this right here is a frame that I've created, and I've given it a background color of a light red, as you can see. So this right here is a frame in Figma. I don't know if you know Figma. Figma is it's the world's best right now. It's the world's best tool that you can use to design user interfaces of both of any kind of digital interface in the world. So yeah, it has all the tools you need right now. So right now I've created a frame right here. If I can zoom in, if you can see the name of the frame 1. So this is frame 1 on page 2, away from our workshop page that I used to create our workshop presentation. So you realize that this is a frame. But you realize that a frame alone does not really, it does not really represent what a design can actually, sort of like be about. Because you can't give this frame to someone and, you tell them that this is the design in this world that we're in, especially once it comes to product sort of like design on the digital interface. Giving them frames, even if there are quite a number of frames, even if I'm to actually to duplicate them, even if I'm to actually create so many frames here, you realize that at the end, even if you have like 1,000 frames, you realize that someone will get lost once you're giving them these frames to sort of like make sense out of them. So you realize that if at all, I'm actually explaining this article, first and foremost, what the essence of design is. The essence of design is to come up with something tangible that someone can actually use eventually. That is actually the essence of design, right? Now, you realize that once you're naming frames, for example, I can name these frames, like, for example, frame 1, I can name this, or maybe I can name them frame A, because Figma automatically names them according to the number. I can name them to frame B. I can do all these things. I can name them to frame item, anything. You get frame item, anything I want. You get any designer can name these frames anything they want. You get. So these are the ones that I have named. I was still showing you that naming files is actually very crucial, but we need something tangible. You get? First and foremost, you need to ask yourself, what is the essence of design? The essence of design is to come up with something tangible. Now, after asking yourself, what is that essence? How do you come up with that essence? Through creating a design style guide. Remember, a design style guide, just like I took you through in the last article, can help you measure your designs, help you reason out your designs, help you define your designs. Now, the problem today, designers usually, they usually define the designs themselves, which is wrong. Because if you read a book called Atomic Design, you realize that design does not exist alone. Design is made up of atoms, molecules, and those molecules are actually joined to make pages and then experiences. You get? So you realize that design, a single page like this LinkedIn page, is made up of atoms that become molecules, maybe. You get? So everything is combined from a single logo that you can see right here. They combine it with the search to make this section of the nav bar. They connect these links to make this section. They connect these to make this section, and then they connect the entire thing to make a nav bar. They join the nav bar to sections, including the footer, to make a single scrollable page. So as a designer, you need to start thinking of design that way. Don't think of design as a whole, because you'll get it wrong. You'll get it wrong, and you will find it so difficult to change your designs. You'll attach feelings to your designs. Look at your designs as an interconnection of atoms, molecules, pages, experiences, widgets. You get? The problem is designers want to think high level. They want to think of, like well-polished designs, well-polished experiences, when everything is glittering. But you need to first and foremost get to understand the essence of design. Why am I designing? And then, once you get to know the essence, create a design style guide. This design style guide, I took you through the design style guide in the previous article and its essence. And then you create some frames in Figma. And then once you create some frames in Figma, just like I've showed you, you now go on to the most important part, which is prototyping in Figma. Prototyping in Figma is just making sure that after you've created all these pages right here, you join them by first and foremost going back right here. Remember, we are in the design tab. We are creating frames in the design tab. Now we want to prototype. To prototype, you just need to, let me just zoom in right here so that you can actually see what I'm doing. I'm seeing right now, we are under the design tab.
Yeah.
Now I can go
I'm seeing.
prototype tab so that we can prototype this. So let me just go back so that I can show you a little bit about prototyping. To prototype, you just need to select a frame and then join it to another frame. That's it. You don't need to name the frame, because we're looking at design as, from the lower level to the upper level. So by the time you join these frames, you know the design style guide. You know what is inside each page. Through the design style guide, you can also create components, and then you can debug these frames through your components. I think maybe in the future I'll be creating a video on how to, we shall be creating a workshop around prototyping, the details, the benefits, the how-tos, and the nitty-gritties of creating experiences that are not yet sort of like implemented, but design-wise, creating them, the flows, creating flows that are good, creating sort of like models, creating pop-ups on your design. So that once you give your design to the developer, they know how it flows. So that is why prototyping is really crucial. And in this article, we concluded by saying that prototyping is better than naming layers, as I'm going to show you. Because once you join your frame, just like I'm showing you, you just join. Once you click on a specific frame, it will just join. Now, in these frames, you can have buttons that you can click on, and then they'll take you to the other frames. So all you need to do, if at all you have hundreds of files, because as you can see, naming frames can help if you have very few frames, as you can see. If you have fewer frames, it can help you. Because in this illustration, we named the frames. But you realize that as the project grows, and you have thousands, hundreds. I've worked on a project whose frames are still growing. But currently we have around, if I may say, we have around 800 frames. We are closing into 1,000 frames. And that shows you that there are so many frames. Now just imagine, you're a designer, you need to be naming frame A, frame this, empty state. This is when you log in. This is when you do this. This is when, and the system is huge. But if I told you just have maybe 2 pages, 1 or 2 pages, landing page, you can name them.
Yeah.
So if at all you have so many pages, all you need to do is to prototype. Prototyping is all about joining the clickable areas in your page so that you can join them and make experiences. So that's what I'm doing right here, and I want to play this for you so that I can show you that instead of searching for a frame from so many frames, you can play your prototype, click through your files, and then get to know a specific frame, debug it through your design style guide. You get? So now let me play for you a video that I created that just shows you how to, I think it's actually attached to this article. Let me just look for it. It's right here. Let me just play it for you so that it's also part of this article. It's also under prototyping in Figma. It just shows you how to create this specific prototype in that specific illustration. So let's just be redirected to YouTube. So let me just expand this for us. Let's give it a minute. I'm going to rewind it. Let it just load. Let me just escape this and okay, it has whatever. Let me just. So how to make a prototype? Step 1. Just make some frames in Figma. So these are the frames in the illustration. So once you make those frames, you switch to the prototyping tab. That's right there. So once you switch to the prototyping tab, you just need to now join the clickable areas in your design to the pages that those clickable areas, like to the views. Those clickable areas are supposed to take you through or to take you to. So for example, once you click that button, it's supposed to take you to these items. Then once you click on a specific item, if at all you want to buy it, you just click on it and it will take you to the checkout form. And then once you click on another sort of like button to sort of like submit your information, and then it will take you to the success page. And I realized that prototyping also has different sort of like properties. For example, clicking, hovering, dragging. So I think I'll make sort of like I'll prepare a workshop around that, and then we shall go through that. But essentially, that is how you can actually prototype in Figma. So that was it for our sort of like articles together with the UX word that I'm supposed to take you through. So let us now go to the UX tunes. Let me just actually our presentation is also just a prototype. It is just a presentation I designed in Figma, and it is a prototype. I just created these frames and then put my information there and then wired them together so that I can create this entire specific presentation. As you can see, it's all wired up depending on where you need to click. So let's just replay it so that we can continue with UX tunes. UX tunes, just like I told you, these are conversational sort of like dialogues that are there to sort of like remind us of what we need to get to know about user experience design, but just in a conversational way, because learning today is evolving. If you realized, there are so many ways to learn, and we as UX chefs, we want to actually explore as many creative ways as possible. And let me just take you there. One of those ways is through creating these UX tunes. UX tunes, they're just simple illustrations, human-like, in different settings, be it the office, be it at the cafe, be it at home, be it anywhere. We usually come into contact with either digital products or physical products. But regardless, we need to get to know about user experience, and we need to remind people building these experiences that they're building them for people, not the machines. So the fifth episode, because in our last workshop, I took you through the first, second, third, and fourth episode, and I'll be giving you links to our last workshop, the recording together with the presentation, so that you can actually take yourself through what you actually missed. So to take you through the first episode, which was episode 5, and we just take you through episode 5. So episode 5 was about the trend of getting into UI UX design these days. People think it is actually becoming very easy to actually get into UI UX design. But just like I told you when I was taking you through the article for design accountability, you realize that this article right here, you realize that design is now becoming all about accountability. You need to account for the styling. So in this episode, James, who is a workmate of John, because John is our main character in the UX tunes, is our main designer, and John is James is like a junior designer who has just maybe recruited in this company that John works for. But James is naive. He has maybe left maybe programming, maybe sales, marketing, and he has joined the UI UX field, which is an open field. Anyone can join at any time, from anywhere. Anyone can actually start practicing. But you need to get to know that things are changing. Things are becoming all about accountability, because even businesses now want designers that are accountable. You just don't design things for that means they'll even fire you very easily, because for you all you do is to design. You need to make sure that you find your place at the table, the big table where the decision makers sit, so that design can also have a voice. And that is through accountability. You need to show the business that with design we can accomplish A, B, C, D, E, that can help the business with A, B, C, D. And with that, you will become more than a UI UX designer. You'll become a contributor to life. So that is what this episode was all about. It was all about reminding whoever is tempting to join this field to be reminded that design is all about accountability. So I hope we drove that message home. The next episode was episode 6. Let me just take you through that. Episode 6 was actually, it was about naming layers. And I actually took you through this. There is this sort of like supervisor that John works with, but the supervisor can't find a specific layer in the thousands of layers maybe that these guys are working on whichever project they're actually working on. So John asks, this supervisor asks John, where is this specific layer? Where is this specific frame we created? And then John tells them that I renamed it a long time ago and I cannot remember because we have so many layers and I'm always renaming layers. So I think you can see renaming layers doesn't actually help because eventually you will lose out on where you left out. Where you left from in regards to naming, because usually when you're actually naming layers, you usually follow a specific format, because that is where people that usually preach about naming layers actually come in. They usually tell you that use this pattern to name your layers, but eventually you realize that you're creating so many layers and you're now adding hyphens, dashes, dash this, state this, frame layer 1001, edited, not edited, accepted, not accepted, pending. You get confused. But through a prototype, you can easily play your specific screens and flows. I think I didn't actually play you that video very well because it didn't load. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make sure that I play it for you at the end, so that you can actually, because at the end it shows you it shows you after prototyping, shows you a video of how someone goes through the prototype. But let me let it load in the background as I take you through these UX twins, and then I'll play it for you as we conclude. So this is our episode. This episode was all about that, making sure that we remind you of episode 6 was all about reminding you that naming layers doesn't help. But if you're to do that, you need to instead focus on prototyping, because prototyping gives you an end result, and that end result is sort of like a video that you can either record or even interact with, because it has clickable areas that you can use to go through that specific prototype. I think, let me look for that specific prototype. It's under demos. So let me just look it for you, because after prototyping, you go through the prototype. It will be actually better rather than showing you a video. So let it load so that I can show you, because it will be very good to show you that rather than showing you a video. So let me just bring it here for you. So let me just actually go back to that part of prototyping versus naming layers. So what I'm showing you now is a video that I attached to this specific article, it's sort of like a Figma prototype that I recorded interacting with, then I attached to this specific article for prototyping versus naming layers. So instead of looking for frame XXXX, you just need to go through your prototype, imagining these are the frames you created, and let me just show you this demo file. So let it stick here. So just imagine that these are the frames I created, frame ABCD, and there are so many other frames, and I've decided to prototype. Right here, these frames are prototype, as you can see, and we prototype the clickable areas. This is a button to this frame. So a prototype is actually better because you can actually click through it, log in, get an item, buy, fill in that form, send, you've successfully bought. You get. So once you get to this frame, if at all it's a frame you want to debug, that means you can easily see this frame and get to know the design style or the component you used, and then come back, maybe right here under our pages, maybe we had a design style guide, you get, that has all these components. Let me just shift E to get back to this frame, copy this component, imagining it is a component we designed long time ago, but maybe our screen has a problem. So you don't have to care about the frame. You have to care about the what? The design style. Either you will just come here and change this, which will actually change what you have here, because it will be a component that you have created. And once you change a component, the child component, or change the parent component, the child component also changes. I think you know this logic, like in programming. Usually when this is object-oriented programming, right? Whereby objects are connected. Once you change one, once you change the parent, the child also changes. So it is the same idea here with the component building. And I think we shall also make an entire workshop around this, and we shall go through. It's so interesting. But it's better than naming layers. So that is why we had that article and we explained. So moving on, the last episode, which was episode 7, let me take you through. Episode 7 was at a restaurant. John's boss, who's Billy, was actually just we were just discussing about design in general, because if I told you at a cafe, you're having some juice, some coffee, it's usually these discussions come up, especially amongst designers, creatives, people that work in the digital era, because realize that the digital world is all about creativity. People that create are the ones that that are contributing to the digital era, because without them, without the digital content, the digital world cannot exist. So it entirely relies on digital content, and people usually converse. And so we also decided to pick up conversations away from the office. What do people usually discuss about? They discuss about design in general. What is going to happen in the nearby future? Is AI going to take about? Is AI going to take over design? This is the major question. People are all afraid. Designers, developers, and everyone is bothered. What is going to happen to designers? What is going to happen to us? People no longer sleep. People no longer, eat very well. They usually, feel very surprised when something is happening. So we realize that what will remain core to design is its intent. You get, like, what is the intent of design? What is design meant for? You get, and that is what we were actually talking about right here in product. Because if at all you think of product, if at all you were able to account for everything in the entire process, you're able to think product wise. AI is not yet able to do that. Yes, it can give you small bits, but it is not able to think big picture and to think of the people going to use the product itself. So that is what is going to remain true to design as a field. So if at all you're able to think product wise, product strategy, you're able to account for everything you do, and then you're able to relate that to business, then the machine cannot actually, challenge you. You'll be able to wake up one day and be like, I think people need this. I think because of ABCD, people need this. Of course, machines are able to do that, but they do that relating on old information. A machine cannot tell how your users slept last night using your system, how they felt about that. You need to test that. You get? So however much data they will be feeding to these MLs, they will not be able to replace the ability to think human-wise, or to think about the pain points that humans have. And the intent of design is to actually make sure that those pain points are dealt with in a user-friendly way. So that was what this conversation was all about, and we hope you enjoyed it. So that was what was all about that. and bring us to our book of the day. We just recommend this book. It's called Don't Make Me Think by Steve Krug. Steve Krug is a usability expert. He's user experience designer. He has wrote 2 books. One of them I think is Don't Make Me Think, and then the other one is it's about testing, and he gives us tips and tricks for testing digital products. But Don't Make Me Think is just to give you some highlights. It's all about not making your users think. People hate it. People want an easy life. So in this book, he gives you tips and tricks on how to build digital solutions that are usable, that do not disturb people. Someone doesn't have to really question, what does this button do? Where is the button? Where is this? Where is the link? What am I looking for? I don't have time. So that is what this book is all about. It's a really good book. I hope you read it. Moving on, you need to just stay connected. You can join the UX Chefs Design community. You can talk to an expert who is part of the group. You can follow us on LinkedIn, together with Twitter. So UX Chefs is a group that is open to everyone, and we hope that we shall grow with time. So that was it for this workshop. I want to thank you for coming, and welcome any questions, as many questions as you can. Yeah.
Yeah, well, for sure, I've enjoyed this session.
Wow, that's really good.
Been really nice, I'm also like currently, me and my friend, we're also running like our own website, for e-commerce. So I've actually seen like the mistakes we have done in it,
Is it live?
Yeah.
Is it live?
Yeah. So gmtexpress.com.
It's
We
live.
just started it currently.
So I hope you guys will give us UX work.
Sure.
Surely.
I've actually seen like the mistakes we have made,
That's
but I
really
hope.
interesting.
Yeah, so it's been really nice. So, I'm going to make more research about this. I see how I can keep in touch with you, how we can work together. But I'm really willing to join your group. And I'm even already like that WhatsApp group. I've been seeing people posting, but I was confused, It's nice, to attend such a session. So I I also start participating. Yeah, maybe I would know like maybe of your individual credentials, if you can keep in touch, maybe where you stay, like your WhatsApp number.
Oh, I think I'll be texting you that since I have your number. So just don't worry about that. I'm going to be texting you.
Okay.
Yeah, just don't
Okay.
worry.
Yeah, so it's been really nice. If I thought I'm going to make more research. If I thought I come up with more questions, I'll be getting back to you.
All right. So
Yeah, but thank you very much. Thank you very much, Rogers.
All right. Thank you so much, Caleb, for joining in. It's been really good to have you today. We hope that next week you also join us. We have quite a lot of information regarding UX design that we have prepared for you next week. So thank you so much, and I hope to see you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.